Drew Brees, 13 Pro Bowls, Super Bowl, 20 NFL seasons. So there are two things that aren't really football, but they're fascinating to me. So I've never looked at, I know you guys are pro athletes and performers, but you're not singers, you're not actors. You are, 90% of what you guys do is weight room, is film room. It is hard. And then you go, you perform. You don't perform for me. You perform for your coach. I don't look at you guys. I know you can be entertainers, but that's not how I look at football players or athletes. There's a distinction. And so Jerry Jones has this practice facility, and there's an article today, and he goes, I think my players are inspired having fans watch them work out. And I think I would be so annoyed if I had people staring at my show all the time working here. So you tell me, when you worked out, film room, facility, would you want randos walking around? Would it be distracting, or does it just not matter?
No, it would absolutely be a distraction, make you feel like an animal in the zoo, especially when there's so much at stake. To me, the locker room and the practice field and everywhere in the facility is sacred. And it's meant to be that this is where we come to work. This is where we come to be professional. This is where we come to master our craft so that we can go out on Sunday and win for this organization and win for this community. And so even just having the media there, honestly, I'd rather not, I just want it to be our team. Yeah. Right. Those that are going to be out there on Sunday, putting it on the line to help us win.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work for me. So Devontae Adams goes to the Jets. D-Hop goes to Kansas City. Amari Cooper, I think is a pretty good fit, goes to Buffalo. And I think it's very hard in any business to say, all right, Drew, you got to throw to this guy. Like, okay, we're not in camp. Like, you're in the install. You're trying to figure. So what is realistic for me to think if I insert Amari Cooper? How fast can you get up to 12 targets and 8 catches? Or is that just unrealistic and fantasy football talk? How long would it take you with a nuke, even if the guy's good? How long would it take you to insert him into the offense and to just be up and running?
I love this question. With an experienced quarterback, very quickly. Because in most cases, you are very aware of these guys and you are very aware of their traits and their skill set. Like you've watched them for years and years, just as you've watched film. And you've sat there and watched what they've done. You've compared it to the guys on your team. You've probably stolen plays and concepts based on watching them and incorporate them into your offense. So like very quickly, you can understand, like I would know, for example, like Devontae Adams, we're sitting here watching. If you just put Devontae Adams on my team, we would be on the same page very quickly. Because I've watched this guy play. I've studied this guy. I know that like my receivers have studied this guy. So like I know his movements. I know his body language. I know when he's anticipating the ball on fades or when he knows a back shoulder's coming, he's preparing his body to flip his hips and make that catch, right? Like there's just little things that I would recognize, and then we would get on the same page so fast.
Yeah. You got inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame last week, and I mean, there's the obviously iconic picture of you and one of your kids after the Super Bowl. But it's really funny I look at you as such a grinder that I always wonder, obviously there's emotional moments for you. I don't see you as a guy. You have a Brady quality. And Mahomes and Lamar have this. I don't see you as a big celebration guy. Maybe there's a point in your life where you'll go back, but it's when you get into the Hall of Fame, were there times in your career that you ever in a bye week said, you know what, it's Drew week. I'm not watching film for 4 days because I just view you as such a grinder. Do the awards now, what do they mean to you in the big picture of what you've done?
Look, you appreciate it. I'm extremely grateful. I'm extremely grateful for the career that I was able to have, for the circumstances that led me to New Orleans, which, never in my wildest dreams did I think that would occur. In fact, like New Orleans was not the most popular place to be back when, that decision was made, and yet what that journey was like and what we were able to accomplish there was unbelievable. And so, every time I walk back into the Superdome, into that building, it's like the rush of emotion and the memories from what we were able to accomplish there, and having my family be a part of it, and the fan base, everybody, so many people in that stadium were a part of a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gives you a chance to just be grateful. And that's a good feeling.
Yeah. I'm watching some of these young quarterbacks, and you can see them growing. Like Caleb Williams, his feet are steadier. He feels like he's a bit more under control. Now, maybe they've just simplified looks or refined looks for him. And it could be that. But when let's say go to your 10th year in the league, was there a point with you weren't necessarily improving? You'd seen every defense. What do you work on when you become Mahomes, Brees in year 10, Big Ben in year 8? What did you work on? You'd seen every defense. Where did you get better?
I'd say situational football. Like, you just continue to master situational football, which to me is what determines so many games. It's how are you handling, the last half of the first half, right? And then the first part of the third quarter, and then preparing for, that final drive of the game where you anticipate that you're going to have to go down and win the game. And, oh, by the way, not only that, but you're kind of working the clock a little bit, because if I'm staring across the sideline at a Tom Brady or a Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers or somebody else, I don't want to give them too much time. So I can score too quick, right? Like, I don't want to do that. So, man, you're constantly trying to master situational football. I'll give you an example. So I'll never forget this. 2019. So this is my 19th year in the NFL. 2019, we're doing a 2-minute drill in a practice, and I burn a timeout with about 20 seconds left, as we're just going up against our defense. It's a 2-minute practice in training camp. I burned my last timeout. I was in control of the 2-minute calls. I was in control of the timeouts. I burned my last timeout. And then the next play, something happens, boom, boom. We run out of time. And I was so mad at myself. And I went back and I analyzed that moment in practice. And I said, always, always do whatever you can to leave yourself a timeout at the end of the game, so that you have access to the whole field. Because when you don't have a timeout and you're inside of 20 seconds, you don't necessarily have access to the whole field.
Right.
Like, you have to get the ball out of bounds, or you have to throw an incompletion. Like, you can't just run one. You can't throw a screen. You can't, right? You don't have the whole playbook or the whole field at your disposal. If you have a timeout, you do. So sure enough, the very first game of the 2019 season, we play Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans, right? We go down, score at the end of the game to take the lead. I think we've got the game won. Deshaun Watson, ironically, throws like a 60-yard bomb, and they score with 37 seconds left to go up by 1 or 2 points. And we have one timeout, 37 seconds. And I, in my mind, say, all right, I'm calling this play, 10-yard completion, clock. This play, 15-yard completion, clock. Next play, completion, timeout. There's going to be 2 seconds left. We're going to kick the game-winning field goal. Sure enough, it was a 12-yard completion to Michael Thomas. Get up, quick spike. Next play, deep hook to Ted Ginn Jr. Spike it. Next play, boom, 10-yard curl to Ted Ginn. We had 6 seconds left, by the way. 6 seconds. Boom. That took 4 seconds. Bang. Timeout, 2 seconds. Come out, kick a 59-yard field goal. We win the game. Right? So, I learned, man, you're always learning. And that's why I love these situational football moments in practice where, coach will just throw out some crazy scenario, right? And all of a sudden, you just have to think on your feet. You got to go out and, man, maybe you fail in practice, and then it just sends you on this journey. I never want that moment to happen again in a game. I'm going to be ready for that. And sure enough, it pays dividends.
Yeah. You didn't throw a lot of picks, but many of the greats, Namath, Peyton Manning, Mahomes, by the way, he'll uncork an ugly one. How do you compartmentalize? And Mahomes does it really well. He just forgets it. Andrew Luck was good at this. Andrew could throw a bad pick. I remember watching him live at USC against Stanford. He threw a pick 6 against USC at the Coliseum. It was bad. And he laughed. They showed it on the screen. He came over. He was hitting his helmet. the next drive, he went 90 yards, and you're like, man, how do you forget that? Again, you didn't have a lot of bad picks, but kind of take me through like a Mahomes, how he just shuts it off. And it's just like, all right, I would think that's so hard to do.
So first of all, I did throw a lot of picks early in my career. And I'd say probably the last 6 to 8 years, I got a lot better. Because at the end of the day, what you also learn is you become, as a quarterback, you become a master of probability. You understand when and how to take chances. You understand matchups. You understand the guys that you're going against. You just kind of know, right, like when you can take that chance or when you can't, right? But as far as just the short-term memory, look, that is the key to playing the quarterback position, because there are plenty of things that are outside of your control that could affect your performance. And then there's times where, man, you just make a bonehead move or a bonehead decision. And it's like, man, where did that come from? And you have to be able to put it behind you. There's a saying that I always think about in football, that you're only as good as your next performance. So whether it was good or whether it was bad, the only thing that matters is the next play, right? Yeah. The next opportunity. And I'd say the hardest part for me is when you're in games and, man, you just feel like you're out of sync or out of rhythm. It's just you're missing throws or whether. And a lot of times you can self-correct, just based on kind of your knowledge of like where you miss. Okay, well, man, I missed high. Okay, I must have, I overstrode, right? Or I dropped my elbow, right? Like, so there's things that you can kind of fix on the run. But for the most part, I would just tell myself, like, trust your instincts and go fast, and don't pass up open guys, right? And when I got to that point, then I was a machine.
Yeah. Drew Brees, eligible for the Hall, first ballot. He'll get in 2026. I'm going to guess right now. I'm going to guess that you're in New Orleans right now. Am I wrong?
No, we're in San Diego.
I was looking at your blinds, and I thought, those look New Orleans.
Yeah. That's a reflection in the mirror here, yeah. We got the Roman shades here to,
I don't know anything.
Block out the sun sometimes.
Great seeing you, man, as always, Drew Brees. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.